Holmes sent a box to his cheating wife and her affair partner during the act, causing them to panic. James sent a box to his cheating wife and her affair partner during the act, causing them to panic. I really apologize, Mr. Smith. It's tough for me to deliver bad news to people like you, said William Brown, as he gave me the envelope. Inside, there was a detailed report of what my wife had been doing with her ex-boss, Michael Johnson. The envelope also had a bunch of photos and a DVD in it. I checked out the photos, but hadn't watched the DVD yet. Part of me was hesitant, but I understood it was important to face what William had discovered. Any clue about how long this has been happening? I inquired. William referred back to his initial report to give me an answer based on the evidence we found. It's been at least 10 years. William explained it might even be up to 12 years. It looks like it began around the time your wife was up for the top position. That was roughly a year after our daughter Emma came into the world. Despite this, I realized I had to get DNA tests to check if the children were biologically mine. Then another concern hit me. What about the risk of STDs? The investigation revealed that Michael had been involved with many married women besides Jennifer. Considering Jennifer and I had been together after she stopped working, I wondered what diseases she could have passed on to me. Over the years, it was clear I needed to get medical tests done quickly. Glancing over the report again, I couldn't help but scoff at William's observation that Jennifer seemed unaware of what her lover was up to when he wasn't with her. Just so you know, Mr. Smith, Michael said, he never meant to break up your marriage, William informed me. And they never did anything at your place. I had William install cameras and mics in our house when I hired him. At least our bedroom hadn't been tainted with Michael's presence. I thought, thanks for telling me, Mr. Brown. I replied I had met Michael Johnson a few times and I didn't care for him much. Sure, he was good look, but he was also rude and had a smirk that rubbed me the wrong way. I had to stop myself from wiping that smirk off his face more than once. Now I knew the reason behind his smugness. There's more, Mr. Smith, William continued. According to what we observed and heard, Michael's sister Sarah has known about their affair from the start. It seems she might have even helped them. That saddened me a bit, as I always thought Sarah was a decent person. The total opposite of her brother, man, I murmured quietly. So have you talked to a lawyer? Yet, William inquired. Not yet, I replied. I wanted to get the facts straight first. Well, I do a lot of work for Emily Davis. She's top-notch in my book, especially when it comes to dealing with cheaters. If you're interested, I can shoot this over to her office and give her a heads up that you'll be dropping by. William offered. That'd be great. I said, thanks. I'll reach out to her office and set up a meeting. William handed me his business card and I tucked it into my pocket. Mind if I give you some advice? William asked. Sure, I nodded. Let Emily handle this. I know you're hurting right now and you might feel like lashing out, but don't. It's not worth landing yourself in trouble. This isn't just some online story. It's real life. And you've got 2 kids to think about, he advised. I get it, thanks, I said. I settled my bill and left his office, feeling like my entire marriage had been a sham. Even though I knew William was right, the pain was still intense. I sat in my car and cried for about 15 minutes. Once I composed myself, I took out the business card he gave me and dialed the law offices of Emily Davis to schedule an appointment for the next day. Emily provided me with a checklist of documents to bring, mainly financial statements, on the way home. I stopped at a convenience store and bought a pack of cigarettes, something I hadn't done since college. Then I headed to a bar and attempted to drown my sorrows in a beer. I'm not much of a drinker, but I figured I deserved it just this. Once you doing okay, buddy? The bartender asked as I took a drag from my cigarette. I glanced up at him before responding. Can you tell? I replied. Unfortunately, he said, offering a small grin. Let me guess, just found out your wife's been unfaithful. Spot on? I nodded. For a good 12 years. Can you believe it? Believe it or not, I can, he replied. Seen and heard it all since I started working here. No doubt, I agreed, he chuckled softly. Mind if I share something? My grandpa used to say. He asked, go ahead. I encouraged, he'd say. I felt bad because I had no shoes. Then I met a guy with no feet. I know you're hurting now, been there myself, but it does get better. And trust me, there's folks out there who've had it way worse than you, he shared. Your grandpa sounds like a wise man, I remarked. He sure was, the bartender affirmed. Finish your beer, then head on home. Son, handle your business, do what needs doing. You won't find any answers at the bottom of that glass. Believe me on that. I grinned and nodded in agreement. Deep down, I knew this seasoned bartender was speaking the truth as I sipped my beer. I pondered. Never would have thought Jennifer would cheat on me over the years. There were small signs, nothing conclusive alone, but when I pieced it all together, it made sense to me. Take, for instance, after our second kid, Emma, was born, I got a vasectomy. Jennifer went back on birth control, which struck me as odd. I asked her about it. Why use birth control when I'd already taken care of things? She gave me a story about being extra cautious in how the pills regulated her period. Not being an expert, I bought it then when she landed that job and started traveling with Michael. I noticed her attire wasn't exactly businesslike. She hinted that entertaining might be a big part of her new role. When I asked her about it, it became clear to me that she was entertaining Michael. It seemed like a significant aspect of her new job, pun intended. I would often call her in the evenings when she was away. I found it odd that she was always in her room when I called, but there were moments when I thought I heard a man's voice nearby. Sometimes I heard Jennifer's voice break as she spoke it at the time. I couldn't explain it. But if Michael was touching her or having closeness with her while she talked to me on the phone, that would make sense. There were occasions when I noticed the faint scent of Michael's aftershave on Jennifer's clothes when she returned home. I recognized it because I smelled it on him every time we met, and it made me almost sick. I could only imagine that happening if she was in close contact with him. Then there were the Friday afternoons she supposedly worked after retiring. My special skills are still needed, so they've kept me on for one afternoon a week, though I might have to travel sometimes, she explained. When I inquired, it's just business, she added. Now I realize her special skills involved more intimate activities, and it was far from just business to Meg. Matters worse, her one afternoon a week turned into 2 or even 3, and she often didn't get home until 9 or 10 p.m. Her astronautical trips increased from once a month to 2 or 3 times often, spanning the entire weekend. So much for retirement. All of this unfolded in just the past 4 months. Jennifer's behavior towards me hadn't changed at all. She was still just as kind and affectionate as she was when we first got married. She seemed to enjoy spending time with the kids and me at home, which was a welcome relief because I had taken on most of the childcare duties due to her hectic schedule. I've been grappling with this issue for a while now, so I decided to hire Williams Investigative to look into what Jennifer's been up to. And now my worst suspicions have been confirmed. The only thing left to figure out is how to divide everything. If it had been a one-time mistake made under the influence, I might have been able to forgive and move on. Sure, I would have been angry, but it wouldn't have been a deal breaker. But this was a deliberate, ongoing betrayal that lasted over a decade, and now it was time for someone to be held accountable. I stubbed out my cigarette, finished my beer, and left, giving the bartender a nod and a generous tip for his time. When I got home, I noticed Jennifer's car in the garage. Frankly, I was surprised to see her there. I closed the garage door and went inside, taking off my jacket and heading for my home office. Jennifer caught me on the way and immediately noticed the smell of cigarettes and beer. "You've been smoking," she said. Her brows furrowed. "And I smell beer. Is everything okay, James?" "No. To be honest, it's not. Today has been one of the worst days of my life," I replied. "What happened? Did something terrible happen?" she asked, seeming genuinely concerned. Though I couldn't help but wonder if it was genuine something, I replied, "I'm going to spend the evening in my office. I don't think I'll be good company tonight. Is there anything I can do, sweetheart?" she asked. "Yeah," I thought. "And do what you've done. Afraid there's nothing you can do." I said, "By the way, James, I'll be away this weekend starting Friday," she mentioned. It was only Tuesday and she's already telling me she's leaving for another weekend again. "Didn't you just go on a weekend trip?" I questioned. "Yes, but something came up," she explained. "It's just business." "You know, I see," I replied sarcastically. "What about Emma's birthday party? It's this Saturday." "I know," she acknowledged, "but I can avoid this. Could you please explain to her why I won't be there?" "Please, I'm not covering for you anymore," I told her firmly. "You missed Liam's birthday and our anniversary last year. You can explain to our daughter why you'd rather be on a trip with Michael than celebrating her birthday here." Jennifer wasn't pleased with my response and let out a heavy sigh before speaking. "James, please, you're being unreasonable," she protested. "No, Jennifer," I persisted. "You supposedly retired months ago after your company was sold, but you've been away so much that I can't help but wonder what's really going on. Is there something you want to tell me?" "What are you implying? Are you accusing me of having an affair?" she retorted defensively. "How would you feel if the roles were reversed?" I countered. She seemed to ease up a bit after that. "I see your point," she conceded. "But trust me, it's just business. That's what you keep saying." I responded now. "If you'll excuse me, I have things to do." Please don't interrupt me. You'll have to take care of the kids tonight. I retreated into my home office, shutting and locking the door. I heard Jennifer attempt to open it. James, she called out. Please, James, talk to me. Leave me alone. Jennifer, I gritted through my teeth. I'm busy. I heard her walk away and began gathering the information Emily had requested. Then I turned to the evidence William had provided as I read the report. It was hard to believe this was the woman I had loved and supported for the past 12 years. I put on my headphones and started the DVD. Unless you've been in my shoes, you can't understand the mix of emotions when you see the person you love giving to someone else willingly. I didn't care how William got those videos. All I knew was that any love I once had for Jennifer was now gone as I watched her with Michael on the screen. I swore to myself that I would never touch her again. I listened to their conversation. Are we still meeting up this weekend? Michael asked as he held her. Of course, Jennifer replied with a smile. You know, I can't go too long without having you inside me. What about your daughter's birthday party? Isn't that this weekend? He inquired. Yes, but James will handle it, she said. HEK better with the kids than I am. Besides, if I have to choose between dealing with a bunch of bratty girls or being here with you, I'd rather be with you. You know, I enjoy having you here, Jennifer, but I'm worried he might start getting suspicious. Michael expressed, you're supposed to be retired, remember? I've told you, Michael, retired or not, I'm not giving up our thing, she replied, caressing him. Love my family and James, but what we've shared these last 12 years means everything to me. I'm glad to hear that Michael responded. Remember when we started this, you said you'd choose James and your kids if you had to do. You still feel that way? I honestly don't know, she admitted. It's never come up. I don't know how you've kept him in the dark all this time, Michael mused. If he ever finds out, it won't be pretty. It wasn't easy at first, but I've learned to keep my business life separate. She explained, I've never denied him anything, and I treat him well. If he finds out, I'll just threaten him in the divorce. It might not be that simple, Michael warned, but if things go south, you can stay here if you want. I like having you around. Thanks, Michael. I'm grateful for that, but I don't think anything will happen. He hasn't caught on in 12 years, and I doubt he ever will. How long do you plan to keep this going, he asked. As long as I can? Maybe for the rest of my life, she declared. I thought to myself, maybe you'll get your wish. As I closed the video, I stashed the DVD back in my briefcase and heard Jennifer knock on the office door. What I responded, the kids are going to bed, she informed me. Can you at least come out and say goodnight to them? Yeah, just a sec, I replied. I shut down my computer, went upstairs and tucked the children in, trying to smile. Emma gave me a funny look. Are you okay, Dad? She asked. Yeah, I assured her with a smile. I'm fine. Go to sleep now. Sweetheart, I love you. Love you too, she said, kissing me after leaving her room. I went downstairs and grabbed a cup of coffee. I kept some food warm for you, James, Jennifer mentioned. I'm not hungry, I replied. Stepping out back, I sat in a deck chair on the patio and lit a cigarette. Jennifer joined me a couple of minutes later. She tried to kiss me, but I turned my head, so she kissed my cheek. There was no way I was going to kiss the lips that had been on Michael Johnson's tool. She looked at me surprised. Tell me what's on. You're mine, James, please. You seem really troubled, she said, her expression filled with concern. This isn't like you at all. And you know, I don't like seeing you smoke. You quit back in college. Yeah, well, life doesn't always go our way, does it? I retorted. What do you mean by that? She inquired. I just shook my head, remaining silent. James, please open up to me. I love you. You can tell me anything, she implored. I glanced at her through the smoke and shook my head. It's too late for that now, I confessed too. Late for what? I don't understand, she pressed. You're savvy in business, I stated. You can figure it out now. Please give me some space. I need to sort things out, but maybe I can help if you let me in, she pleaded. Jennifer, please, I need you to respect my space, I said, my frustration evident. I softened my tone a bit, realizing I might be giving too much away. Sorry for snapping. Work been rough, and it's really weighing on me. Maybe in a couple of days it felt wrong lying to her, but I reasoned why not. It's fair to lie to a liar, right? Oh, right, she replied quietly, tears streaming down her face. Then she hurried inside sobbing. I smoked 2 more cigarettes before heading indoors. I took a shower to wash away the smoke smell, put on some pajamas I rarely wore, and got into bed. Jennifer lay on her side, reaching out to me under the covers. I pushed her hand away, refusing her advances for the first time in our marriage. James, she started. I turned away, declining to give her a goodnight kiss. Good. Night, Jennifer, I muttered. She turned away crying at that moment. I didn't care as far as I was concerned. She could go straight to hell the next morning. I got up, took a shower, got dressed, and packed my things for work. I spent some time with the kids before they headed off to school, then left the house without acknowledging Jennifer. She gave me a strange look as I headed out the door. Don't I get a goodbye kiss anymore? She asked as I opened the door. Sorry, I replied, blowing her a kiss. I love you. I love you too, she said. Yeah. Same here, I muttered as I walked out at the office. I tried to focus on work, but it was tough. I briefed my boss on the situation, and he sympathized, having gone through a divorce himself. Do what you need to do. He said, if you need time off, just let me know. I thanked him and got back to work, leaving early for my meeting with Emily. Good afternoon, Mr. Smith, she greeted me as I entered her office. Emily Davis seemed to be around my age, with long blonde hair, I noticed. The rings on her finger, and assumed she was married. Please call me James, I said, shaking her hand. And you can call me Emily. She replied, I've reviewed the report Mr. Brown sent over. I'm sorry you're going through this. It's a common issue I deal with, but it's always distressing. How are you holding up? I'm not doing too well. Honestly, I admitted. I understand she sympathized. Have you talked to her about it yet? Not yet, but I wasn't very nice to her last night. I confessed. I recommend trying to keep things civil for now. I know it's tough, given what you know, but it's best not to let on that you're aware. Let her carry on as usual. She'll realize when she's served with the divorce papers. Can you handle that? You're right, it'll be tough. Really tough, I acknowledged, but I'll do my best. Good. Emily nodded. Now, what are your goals for this divorce? I want to get as much as I can, I asserted, especially custody of the kids. If they're actually mine, you do know that mothers usually get custody, right? She pointed out I've been their main caregiver for the past decade, I countered. And she admitted on the video that I'm a better parent than her. Her choice to be with her lover instead of her daughter on her birthday should count for something. It does, and we can use that, Emily agreed. She reviewed the financial documents I provided, jotting down notes. It seems your wife got a hefty sum from the company sale. The monthly dividend she's receiving match your salary. This works in our favor. So does that mean no spousal support? I inquired, or very little. Emily confirmed she's still young and capable of working. Plus, if we secure custody for you, we might be able to get child support from her. What about the house? I asked. If we manage to secure custody for you, you can continue living in the house, and we can request that she covers half of the mortgage, but there's a chance the court might grant her custody. In that case, you'd have to cover half of the mortgage, along with child support. She explained the only other option would be to sell the house and split the proceeds between the two of you. What about our retirement and bank accounts? Sis inquired. We can simplify things by leaving retirement accounts out of the equation. You both keep your 401ks. Everything else will be divided equally, which is typically what a judge would order, she clarified. What about Michael Johnson? Can I take legal action against him for alienation of affection? I questioned. Not in this state, she replied, but we will include him in the divorce proceedings. There might be grounds for suing him for intentional infliction of emotional distress, but it's unlikely to go far, especially in this state. And what about his sister, Sarah? She was aware of the situation the entire time, possibly even facilitated it, I added. It's a similar situation with her. We can file if you wish, Emily responded. Yes, please proceed. When can you file all of this? I inquired. I believe we can have it done by Friday, she assured. I'd like her to be served late Saturday afternoon. Sheck be away for the weekend with Michael. I explained, I understand a bit of shock and awe. We can arrange that, she acknowledged. But there will be an additional cost for the process server to work on Saturday. That's fine, Latoon, proceed with it. I agreed. Okay, James, she concluded. We concluded the meeting with a handshake after issuing me the customer warning not to do anything rash. She accepted my retainer check. I left her office, feeling more confident about the situation. When I got home, I noticed Jennifer's car in the garage, which surprised me since it was Wednesday. I assumed she'd be at work, feeling the warmth of the hood. It seemed she had driven recently. Inside, the smell of pot roast greeted me. Hey, sweetheart, Jennifer greeted from the kitchen back early. Everything okay? Yeah, I replied. Hope you're feeling better than yesterday, she said a bit. I'm getting things sorted, I assured. Good hungry for dinner, she asked. I made pot roast. Your favorite? I'll have a bit. I accepted. Smells great. Did you go to the office? Yeah, a couple of hours, she replied, prepping for the weekend. Did you talk to Emma? I inquired. Yeah, she not thrilled. But she'll cope, Jennifer said. Where are the kids? I wondered. In their rooms doing homework, she informed. So still planning that trip with Michael? I pressed. Yes, business, she stated firmly. Just business. When do you plan to retire for real? I questioned. I'm retired now. Just need for a while, she clarified. Not sure how long. Seems like you're almost full-time already, I remarked. Guess you gotta do what you gotta do. What's that mean? She probed. With all the time you're giving them. You might as well be on payroll, I pointed out. Why I'm making more now, she defended. I put my briefcase away and changed complimenting her cooking. I remembered her skills. I'd miss when we split after spending time with the kids. I locked myself in my office. Jennifer tried to enter, then knocked when she realized it was locked. I cracked the door open to see her face. James, she asked, are you bunking in here tonight? I think so, I replied. Still got a bunch to go through and I'm feeling a bit under the weather. Don't want to risk getting you sick right before your trip, so I'll crash on the futon in here. Oh, all right, she said. Take care, James, please. I love you. Yeah, same here, I responded, shutting the door as she walked away. I got on my computer and started to search after finding what I needed. I filled out a form and checked my email for confirmation. Noting the phone number, I set a reminder on my phone to call the next day and confirm everything. Thursday rolled around pretty much like Wednesday, except Jennifer tried to lure me to bed with a sheer nightgown that left nothing to the imagination. Despite her appeal, knowing what she'd been up to, with Michael ended any attraction I had. Sorry, Jennifer, got a bad migraine, I murmured, going to take something and crash here in the office. A tear rolled down on her cheek as she walked off, but I couldn't care less. The next day at noon, she called to say she was off. Hope you're feeling better, James, she said. Maybe we'll reconnect when I'm back Monday. Parents will pick up the kids today and drop them off tomorrow for Emma's party. Thanks for the heads up, I replied. I love you, James, she said. I hope you believe that. Yeah, I said. Have a safe trip. See you later. Goodbye, Jennifer. After hanging up, I called Emily. Paperwork's getting filed now. James, she informed. They'll be served tomorrow at 5:30 at Michael, just like you wanted. Sarah will get hers on Monday. Thanks, Emily, I said, ending the call. I told my assistant I was done for the day, locked up and headed home. Lots to do before the movers arrived that afternoon. I had a stack of boxes ready in the garage for the day's work at 5 p.m. The movers showed up with their truck just as I finished packing everything while they loaded up. I worked on altering Jennifer's wedding dress after I was done. I put the ashes in a paper bag, sealed it with the note, my wedding ring, and our torn marriage certificate inside an envelope, and handed it to one of the movers. I asked them to deliver it to Jennifer at Michael's house the next day at 5:30 p.m., along with two $50 bills as tips. I'll make sure this gets to her, the young man assured me. Thanks, I replied later. I heated up some leftover pot roast and ate in the living room while watching TV. I slept well in the master bed that night. The next day at noon, Jennifer's parents arrived with the kids. I'd been up early preparing for Emma's birthday party in the backyard set to start around 3:00 p.m. Jennifer had ordered a cake which I picked up earlier and stored in the fridge. You've been busy, Jennifer's mom remarked when she walked in. I didn't have much choice, I replied. Hopefully everything goes smoothly. The kids will enjoy it, she reassured Emma. Mentioned Jennifer wouldn't be here. Yes, she did. Jennifer's mom confirmed. I can't believe she'd miss her own daughter's birthday. She paused, looking at me intently. Is everything all right between you two? No, it's not. I admitted. I hate to break it to you, but you'll find out soon enough. I'm divorcing Jennifer, what her dad exclaimed. Why, I found out she's been having an affair with her boss for the last 12 years. I disclosed. In fact, that's where she is right now. Oh my God, her mom gasped. Are you sure about this? I've had my suspicions for a while, especially after Jennifer's so-called retirement. I explained about a month ago I hired an investigator to dig deeper. I've got a detailed report, photos and even video evidence if you're curious. No need for that, she declined. And you're certain you can't forgive her? Absolutely, I affirmed. Not after all this time. I'd like to see that report, Robert chimed in. I can't believe she'd do something so foolish. Well, you handle that. I'll finish up for Emma's party, Mary offered. After thanking Mary, I gestured for Robert to join me in my home office. Passing him the written report, he was visibly shocked by the content, shaking his head in disbelief. That foolish woman, he muttered, handing the report back. I'm sorry, James. She's my daughter, but this is hard to swallow, Sal. You understand my position? I sympathize with the plan with this Michael guy, he inquired. I've taken legal action against him and his sister for causing emotional distress. I informed him. He scoffed. That's it. he retorted. After 12 years of stealing. Your wife, he gets off easy. You know how far that lawsuit will go. I get it, Robert, I acknowledged. But I have to think about my kids ending up in jail won't help anyone, I suppose. You're right, he conceded. But based on this report, it seems Michael has a thing for married women. I bet Jennifer isn't his first target. Probably not. I agreed. Let me handle this jerk, Robert suggested. He ain't worth you going to jail for. He ain't worth it, I agreed. Here's an idea, James. Robert proposed, let me handle that jerk. I won't let you risk going to jail over him. I assured him, no need to fret. Son of Robert reassured me, nobody's getting locked up. Robert was a burly man used to physical work. I'd met some of his Keo workers, equally imposing figures who watched out for each other. What's your plan? I inquired. The less you know, the better. Robert replied with a wink and grin. All right, if you say so, I agreed. He grinned and gave my shoulder a hearty slap. Come on, James Latoon, go enjoy some time with the kids, he suggested. We headed outside to find Mary had everything set up for Emma's party. When Emma came down, her eyes lit up at the sight. Thanks, Daddy, she beamed, hugging me. This is awesome. I wish Mom could see it. Me too, I admitted. But we'll take plenty of pictures for her. Okay, she agreed. I fired up the grill, cooking burgers and hot dogs for everyone around 4:30 p.m. The doorbell rang, signaling the beginning of the festivities over the next half hour. Emma's friends arrived with their parents, all eager to join the fun amongst them. Last to arrive were Sarah and her husband David, with their daughter Olivia. After welcoming them inside, I directed Olivia to the yard where the party was in full swing, offering Sarah and David drinks. I made conversation. I'm surprised to see you here. Sarah, wasn't there a big business trip planned? I asked. That's Jennifer and Michael's gig, she clarified. I'm just providing support at the office. I see, I replied. Is everything okay between you and Jennifer? Sarah inquired. Why do you ask? I countered him. You're not wearing your wedding ring, she observed. I glanced at my finger, realizing the absence of my ring. We returned it to her disclosed. Maybe Michael will have better luck keeping her loyal than I did. What that's supposed to mean. Sarah pressed. Come on, Sarah, I objected. Don't sugarcoat it. I know your brother's been seeing. Jennifer, for over a decade, you both did a great job of fooling me. All this time, James, please. Jennifer still cares about you, Sarah insisted. Yeah, so much that she kept lying to me for 12 years. I feel so cherished right now, I retorted sarcastically. What's your plan? Sarah inquired. What do you think? I'm kicking her to the curb. She and Michael will be served soon, I replied, glancing at my watch. Served? Sarah questioned. Yes, Jennifer's getting divorce papers, and I'm taking Michael to court, Yukbi. Served on Monday, I informed her. Why are you suing me? I haven't done anything. Sarah protested. Exactly, I shot back. You knew what they were up to for years. My investigator even thinks you might have helped, and all the while you acted like my friend. You could have spoken up, but you didn't. How many times have you sat in my home, eating my food, knowing what Jennifer was doing with your brother? Did you enjoy making me a fool, My family's torn apart, and you're partly responsible because of you. 3, I'll never trust another woman again, and my kids lost their mother. I hope you're satisfied. I'm not happy about this, James. Sarah insisted. I'm sorry. Sorry is not enough, Sarah, I countered. You all conspired to wreck my family for 12 years. You didn't care how it hurt me or my kids, and now you've succeeded. That's not how it went down. Sarah defended. Really, was it just business between you? I challenged. At first, yes. She admitted it was Michael's idea. Jennifer went along because she wanted the job, but she wasn't happy. Things changed over time, so even after she sold her company and said she retired, I queried. That was all her decision, Sarah clarified. I thought it would stop, but Jennifer kept it going. Then she made a bad choice, I remarked. But you still played a part. I'm really sorry about that, James. Sarah apologized. None of us meant to hurt you, but you did. I stated in the worst way possible. It's best if you gather your family and leave my house. Sarah, she nodded in understanding. Get it, James, she responded softly before heading out. Oh, and Sarah, I called after her. She turned back to me. Don't ever come back. She wiped away a tear and left to find Olivia and David. Jennifer and Michael were lying naked in bed when her phone buzzed, signaling a new message. Assuming it was James sending photos from Emma's party, she quickly checked it, only to read a text from Sarah hewn onto us. Oh, damn, she blurted out. What wrong? Michael asked. It's Sarah. James knows everything, Jennifer. Explained I should clean up and head home. Is that a good idea? Michael questioned. Yes, Jennifer affirmed. throwing on a bathrobe and getting out of bed. Just then the doorbell rang. Who could that be? Michael wondered aloud, peering out the window to see a sedan and a moving truck in the driveway. He hastily put on some clothes and a robe with Jennifer following behind. Upon opening the door, they were met by a man in a light jacket. "What's up?" Michael inquired. "Are you Michael Johnson?" the man asked. "Yeah," Michael replied. "And is Jennifer Smith here too?" "That's me," Jennifer confirmed, stepping forward. "I'll need to see some ID," the man requested. "Why?" Michael questioned, reaching for his wallet. The man silently checked Michael's license before handing him an envelope. "You've been served," the man informed him. Then turning to Jennifer, he requested her identification. Sure, Jennifer complied, retrieving her wallet after inspecting her license. The man handed her another envelope. "You've been served," he stated, "and there's a restraining order included. You both must stay at least 500 feet away from Mr. James Smith, his home, his workplace, and his children's school. Violating this order could lead to your arrest. Have a good day with that." He departed, leaving Jennifer and Michael stunned as they exchanged looks. "Excuse me, is Jennifer Smith here?" asked another man in jeans and a t-shirt. "Yeah, that's me," Jennifer replied. The man handed her a paper bag with an envelope attached, leaving her puzzled. "I was told to deliver this to you, ma'am. I've got some other boxes too," the man explained. "Where should I put them?" Michael and Jennifer exchanged a look before Michael spoke up. "Just leave them in the front room for now," he instructed. "Thanks, sir," the man said, heading back to the truck. As they watched, the men brought in several boxes and stacked them in the front room as directed. Meanwhile, Jennifer opened the envelope inside. There was a man's wedding ring, a note, and her torn-up marriage license. Tears rolled up in Jennifer's eyes as she read the note. "Jennifer, I've done nothing but love and support you throughout our marriage. Imagine my shock to find out you've been having an affair with Michael Johnson for the past 12 years. This is how you repay my love by lying and cheating. You always claimed it was just business. But now I see it was much more than that. I hope it was worth it. I suggest you see a lawyer as soon as possible. I've already divided our finances, according to the divorce papers, and changed the locks on the doors. Since I've been the main caregiver for the kids since you started your affair with Michael, I'm asking for full custody, but I won't deny you visitation. Have your lawyer get in touch with mine to arrange it also, since Michael said you could stay with him. I've sent all your stuff to his place. If there's anything else you want from the house, have your lawyer talk to mine and we'll sort it out. I don't want to see you or hear your lies anymore. Please stay away from me and the kids. If you try to reach out, I'll enforce the restraining order. Don't make the divorce harder than it needs to be. I don't want it to get ugly, especially for the kids, but I will. If you push it, just so you know, I have evidence from a private investigator who's been watching you for the past month. I haven't told the kids why we're divorcing yet, but I will. When the time is right, your parents know some of what's going on, but not all of it. It's time to do the right thing and end this fake marriage as of now. Jennifer, you mean nothing to me. Goodbye, son of James." Tears streamed down Jennifer's face as she opened the paper bag and found the ashes of her wedding gown, the same one she wore when she married James. She collapsed on the floor crying. Michael held her and read the letter. "That jerk," he said, "I'll confront him for this." "No, Michael, please, don't. I don't want you getting into trouble because of me." "This is my mess," she said. "What did you get?" Michael asked HEK. "Suing me for causing him emotional distress." Michael said, "He was asking for $5 million. I'll talk to my lawyer to see what we can do about all this. I wonder if he's going after Sarah too," Jennifer said. "Latoon find out." Michael said, dialing his phone. "If he is, we need to meet and figure out how to handle this mess after the birthday bash ended." I thanked everyone for joining and for the presence looking around at the chaos. I knew cleanup would keep me busy for a while. Emma approached, tears welling up. "What's wrong?" "Honey," I asked, embracing her. "I just wish Mom could have been here," she sniffled. "I miss her." "Yeah, me too." I sighed, but she had other plans. Emma's expression turned sad. "Are you and Mom splitting up?" she asked, tears streaming down her cheeks. I didn't want to spoil her day, but I knew the talk was inevitable. "We'll discuss it later." "All right. Is it because of that guy?" Michael Liam chimed in. "Why do you think that?" I probed. "I've heard Mom chatting with him on the phone a bunch," he shared. "It was intriguing. But I decided to leave it there for now." "Latoon, leave it for tomorrow," I stated firmly. "Today is all about Emma's celebration right now. I need your help to tidy up." "Okay. Sure thing, Dad." Liam nodded. I hugged Emma once more and planted a kiss on her cheek. "Everything will be okay," I assured her, wiping her tears. "I love you. I love you too." Daddy, she whispered. Mary and Robert pitched in to tidy up, Jen. You gonna be all right? Mary asked before they left. I'll manage, I replied. Thanks for lending a hand. Anytime she said, if you need anything, just say the word. I appreciate it, I acknowledged. Mary hugged me and Robert shook my hand. Take care, son, he said. After they drove off, I locked up and headed upstairs, crashing into bed. Almost instantly. The following day, I woke up and tackled my usual Sunday chores after fixing breakfast. For us three, while I mowed the lawn, Liam handled the edging after wrapping up. We tidied everything and put it away. When it was time for lunch, I headed in, showered, and was surprised to find Emma preparing sandwiches. We sat at the table to eat, then cleared our plates. Emma looked at me expectantly. Okay, Dad, she began. What's the deal? I knew this chat was inevitable, so I led the kids to the living room and we sat down. There's no easy way to say this, so here it is, I started. I'm splitting up with your mom. The news landed without much reaction from the kids, which surprised me. I had expected more emotion. Mom's been seeing that Michael guy. Huh, Liam piped up. Yeah, confirmed, my voice low. I had a feeling, Liam added, bet it's been a long time, right? Why do you say that? I questioned him just how she talks to him, he explained. I've overheard her on the phone. She talks to him like she talks to you, Dad. It made sense. I hadn't picked up on it earlier, probably because I always trusted her and respected her privacy. Listening in on her calls with Michael or anyone else never crossed my mind. So how long's this been going on, Dad? Emma inquired. About 12 years. Sweetheart, I replied. Emma gasped. That's almost since I was born. She realized. Pretty much. I affirmed. Damn, Emma muttered. Sorry, Dad, she added quickly, sensing her language might not be appropriate, understanding her frustration. I let it slide. Can I stick with you? She asked. Absolutely. If that's what you want, I assured her. Me too, Dad, Liam chimed in. You've always been there for us. Thank you guys. That means the world to me. I requested custody of you both. I revealed. I opened my arms and they both hugged me tightly. It filled me with immense joy. Knowing my kids wanted to be with me after a heartfelt embrace, we carried on with the day. Though sadness lingered in the house, the following days passed without any trouble. Robert and Mary kindly picked up the kids after school and stayed until I returned from work. I felt bad for inconveniencing them, but they were understanding and happy to assist. Mary even took charge of dinner. Easing my load on Tuesday, my lawyer, Emily, called. Jennifer had consulted with her own lawyer and expressed a desire to see the kids. I was hesitant to have her over, fearing she might do something rash like take them away. What about the restraining order? I inquired. If you agree, we could temporarily suspend it from 9 p.m. Friday night to 9 a.m. Sunday morning, Emily proposed. It's tough, but appearing reasonable is key. Got it. How about she visits them at her folks' place on Saturday? I suggested I can drop them off Friday after school and pick them up either Saturday night or Sunday. I'll propose that and see what her lawyer says. Emily agreed. No way should Michael or Sarah be there, I emphasized. And the kids might not want to see her. They're not too happy with her right now. I'll relay that. Emily assured. Anything else, I inquired. Yes, her lawyer wants the full pie report. Emily informed me I've compiled it and sent it off. She should have it by Thursday at the latest. So she's lawyered up. I confirmed. Jennifer hired Ashley Miller on Monday. Emily informed me, I'm surprised Ashley took the case given her strong feelings against cheaters. My guess is she did it because she works at the same firm as Michael's lawyer. Anyway, I'll chat with Ashley and see how it goes. I'll keep you posted the following day. Emily got back to me, Jennifer, and her lawyer agreed to my terms with a condition that I suspend the restraining order for 36 hours from midnight, Saturday to noon. Sunday, it would only apply to Jennifer, not Michael or Sarah. They also settled on Jennifer visiting the kids at her parents' house and not taking them anywhere. If the kids were okay with it, Jennifer would stay there overnight. I too avoid looking unreasonable to the court. Initially, the kids weren't thrilled, but I convinced them to give it a shot. Robert and Mary agreed to pick them up from school on Friday and return them Sunday afternoon. Though I had my doubts, I trusted them. Robert even suggested we hit a bar for some sports and beer Saturday night on Friday morning. I made sure the kids had everything they needed for the weekend. After hugs and kisses, I dropped them off at school, reminding them to call if Michael, Sarah, or their mom showed up. Once I knew they were safe inside, I headed to work the next evening. Robert swung by around 5:30 and we headed to the Flat Stick Pub, a popular sports bar downtown. Over burgers and beers, we caught up while watching the screens between bites. Robert filled me in. Jennifer showed up around 9 this morning. He said it was tea at first, but things calmed down. The kids aren't thrilled with her, and they made that clear. Surprisingly, she came clean. That's unexpected, I admitted. She claims she still loves you. I think Sheck, aiming for reconciliation, Robert said. Are you cons considering it? Not after all the lies and deceit. For 12 years, I replied, I get that, by the way. Did you really burn her wedding dress? That thing cost me over $2. And when you two got married, Robert asked. Felt like the right move at the time, I chuckled. Her lawyer apparently gave her an earful after going through the PA report. Robert mentioned she might be starting to understand your side of things. Too little too late, I replied. Robert nodded and took a sip of his beer. Suddenly, there was a disturbance behind me. I turned just in time to feel a blow to my head, and stars filled my vision as I hit the floor. I saw a foot swinging towards me. Dazed but instinctive, I dodged it. Michael's furious voice rang out. I'm going to end you, jerk! Struggling to my senses, I remembered my dad's old self-defense lessons, summoning all my strength. I hit him hard in the groin. He cried out and stumbled back, hitting a nearby table, seizing the opportunity. I jumped at him. It was pure rage fueled by the destruction of my marriage and family. There was no finesse or fancy moves, just raw fury. Unbeknownst to me, Michael was already out cold as I continued to rain. Blows on him, it took Robert and another guy to pull me off him, but not before I yelled something incoherent. When I came to, I was in a hospital bed with a doctor examining me. My right hand was bandaged, and my left arm was in a case an IV dripped into my vein, and my head throbbed painfully. I think, HEK, be okay, the doctor reassured someone. One, he'll have a bad headache for a while, but there's no sign of a concussion. We'll give him some pain relief and let him rest before sending him home. Thanks. Doc Robert chimed in, confused. I glanced at him. He grinned back. Hear that you're going to make it. I know you're in pain, but you should see the other guy. Word is he's going to lose a testicle, got some teeth knocked out, and almost lost an eyeball. Seems you busted a knuckle on his jaw. That was Michael. Right, yeah, I rasped. How long have I been here since last night? It's now 8:30 Sunday morning. Robert replied, oh, and there are a couple of big cops outside who want to have a chat with you. Ready for that? Might as well get it done, I muttered. Robert motioned to the officers and they entered the room. Mr. Smith, I'm Sergeant Smith, and this is Officer Jones. We responded to the incident at the Flat Stick Pub last night. How are you feeling this morning? Sir Smith inquired. Like I got smacked upside the head. I admitted. Smith nodded and checked his notes. What can you tell us about last night? He promised Ed not a whole lot. I was just having a burger and beer with my father-in-law here, and suddenly, I'm getting hit. I recounted the guy threatened me, so I had to defend myself. Smith glanced over his notes. That's pretty much what the witnesses said, and the surveillance video backs it up. Do you know the man who attacked you? Smith asked. Yeah, his name's Michael Johnson. I've got a lawsuit against him, and he's part of my divorce proceedings. I explained divorce. The sergeant queried. Yeah, I confirmed. Got it? He noted in his pad, so you want to press charges? Yes, definitely, and there's also a restraining order against him. I asserted all, right, we'll look into that. Just so you know, it's probably best if you stay in town for a bit, in case we need to talk to you again, Smith advised. No worries, Sergeant, I assured him, raising my hands. He nodded with a smile before they exited the room once they were gone. Mary, Jennifer, and the kids entered. Why is she here? I asked, glaring at Jennifer. My restraining order doesn't kick back in until noon. Jennifer explained, I thought you'd be with your boyfriend, I remarked. She glanced down, feeling embarrassed. I wanted to see you first, she admitted. Besides, Sarah's with him, and he's still recovering. I nodded, and the kids clustered around me. Emma's eyes welled up. Will you be okay, Daddy? She asked. I'll manage, sweetheart, I assured her. I heard you really gave Michael a beating last night. Liam chimed in with a grin. That's the talk. All right, I acknowledged, glancing at Robert. But it's nothing to boast about. You catch my drift. Got it, Dad. Liam affirmed. Are you all right, James? Jennifer inquired. HEK? Be fine, Emma reassured her mother. We'll take good care of him. Won't we, Liam? Yeah, we got this, my son affirmed. Jennifer glanced at our teenage kids before speaking. If it's okay with you guys, I'd like to chat with your dad alone for a bit. She requested. They glanced at her briefly before nodding. Sure thing, Emma agreed, but we'll be right outside. Come on, Liam, she urged, reaching for her brother. They exited the room, trailed by Robert and Mary James. Jennifer began once we were alone. I can't express how sorry I am about everything. Well, like I told Sarah last Saturday. Sorry, I doesn't even begin to cover it, I replied. You lied to me and cheated on me for what, 12 years? And you think sorry is supposed to make it all right? Was I that terrible of a husband? All I did was love and support you, and don't get it. You are the best husband and father, she said sorrowfully. But even that wasn't enough for you, was it? I countered. It's not like that, she protested. Really, that's how it looks from where I'm standing, I countered. You don't understand, she insisted. Then help me understand, I pressed. At first it was just a way to secure my job, she explained. Michael made having closeness with me a condition for getting the position. It's illegal. Why didn't you come to me first? We could have taken action. Oh, I see you wanted that job so badly that you thought sleeping with Michael was a small price to pay, even if it tore our family apart. Remarked that I made a pact with the devil. Basically, she admitted. So now you're pointing fingers at the devil, I scoffed. Give me a break. The reality is you craved that job so much you were willing to sleep with him for it, even if it meant losing everything. Remember your old mantra. It's just business. Tell me, Jennifer, where does tearing our family apart fit into your bottom line, huh? What I'm curious about is why you kept it going after you supposedly retired. That was my fault, she admitted. Guess I reached a point where I thought I could have it both ways. You have feeling for him, don't you? That's why you kept at it. How long did you plan to keep it up forever? Did you really believe I'd never find out? Or did you expect me to just accept it once I did? And remember, I know more than you think, I reminded her. Yeah, I started to care for him. She confessed it was tough not to. After all those years, I thought you loved me enough to let me have this. I tried my best not to let it affect. You serious? I exclaimed. Every moment you spent with him took away from us. Surely you recall the concept of opportunity cost the loss of potential gain from other options when one is chosen? You chose him over your family. Consequently, you lost your family. But I still love you, she insisted. I've never stopped loving you, but you lost respect for me, I countered. She looked stunned. No, never, she protested. Yes, you did. I insisted. That's why you told him you'd be with him for life and threatened. To harm me in a divorce, her eyes widened. You heard that? She gasped. Yes, and more, I affirmed. For instance, you told Michael you'd rather spend time with him than with your own daughter on her birthday. What kind of mother does that? What kind of message does that send to a vulnerable teenager? Did you even think about her? Or about Liam? When you missed his birthday last year, she flinched at that. I suppose I just fail as a wife and a mother, she murmured softly. That's your interpretation, not mine. But if it applies, I shrugged. Oh, and I'm sure your partner in crime will be relieved to know I can't chase him down for child support. I had DNA tests done, and the kids are mine. She stared at me stunned. Wow, you actually thought I'd do that to you, she exclaimed. Well, you lied to me for 12 years, I stated. You schemed and tricked me all that time, hiding your affair. What else would I think? Oh, and you might want to know I have picked up anything from the two of you. You might not realize it, but Michael likes to play the field. You're not his only conquest, I suspected. But I wasn't sure what's next, she inquired. Sign the papers, Jennifer, end this fake marriage, then get help and sort yourself out for the kids' sake, I urged. You'll likely have plenty of time. I bet Michael's going to be a resident of the state for a while. You're probably right, she conceded. Okay, I'll sign the papers. I'm sorry, James, for everything you already said that I reminded her. I guess I did, huh? Well, thanks for letting me spend time with the kids this weekend, she acknowledged. No problem, I replied. I know you doubt it, but I do love you, she confessed, and I wish you could find a way to forgive me and give us another shot. You're right, I don't buy it, but thanks for saying it, I responded. I suppose a part of me will always care for you too, but it's not enough. I need to trust my partner, and after what you did, I'm not sure if I can trust anyone again. She nodded silently, tears streaming down her face, I understand. She whispered goodbye. James, she gave me a kiss on the cheek before leaving the room in tears. Robert, Mary, and the kids entered afterward. Everything okay, son? Robert inquired. Yeah, I replied. We talked it out. I think she finally gets how badly she messed up. So, does that mean you and Mom are getting back together? Emma asked. I shook my head. No, honey, I said. But you still love each other, she insisted. It takes more than just love to make a marriage last, Emma. I explained trust is just as important. And right now, I don't trust her. Someday you'll understand this yourself after a final checkup from the doctor. I was released. Robert drove me home with the kids. Later that night, I received a frantic call from Robert and Jennifer. Sarah informed them that Jennifer took too many sleeping pills and drinking alcohol. Sarah discovered her unconscious at Michael's place while retrieving some of his belongings. A note on her nightstand simply said, "I'm sorry, though, she nearly passed. Jennifer survived and spent a couple of days in the hospital following evaluation by mental health professionals. She was placed under Robert and Mary's care, eventually moving back in with them. She signed the divorce papers without contesting anything. Emily informed me that I would be officially divorced in 90 days, free. Yeah, right? Michael and Sarah's attorney swiftly settled with us for half of what I initially demanded. This left me with about $5 million after attorney fees. I allocated $1 million each for the kids' college funds and saved the rest. I began planning a Mediterranean cruise for them during their next summer vacation. Michael was convicted of aggravated assault battery and attempted ending based on video evidence. He received a 10-year sentence in state prison, but could be eligible for parole in around 5 years. Whenever I visited Robert and Mary's place with the kids, I'd see Jennifer. Sometimes we chat for a bit, but I couldn't shake off what she'd done. She was seeing a counselor to figure out her actions, still holding on to hope that I'd take her back. I was glad she was seeking help, but it felt like too little too late. Over time, she slowly reconnected with the kids, which was a relief, Robert mentioned. She spent most of her time writing for business blogs and wasn't interested in dating. She was disappointed to hear about the Mediterranean cruise I planned with the kids, but she handled it gracefully, wishing us the best. The kids often sent her messages with photos from our travels. During the cruise, I met Jessica, a charming woman from British Columbia, also on a post-divorce trip. She was a bit younger than Jennifer, with blonde hair and a cheerful demeanor. I enjoyed her habit of ending sentences with she had 2 kids a bit younger than mine, spending summer with their grandparents in Idaho. We spent a lot of time together, sharing our stories, and even sharing a bed a few times. Emma teased me about having a girlfriend. We exchanged contact info when the cruise ended, promising to keep in touch through email and Skype. Though I'm not sure where it will lead, we chat online at least twice a week. Life at home adjusted without Jennifer. My boss was flexible, allowing me to manage taking the kids to school and picking them up. I knew Liam would soon be old enough to drive and take over that responsibility. After our return from the cruise, Robert delivered some troubling news. "They're putting Jennifer in a mental hospital," he said. "Why?" I asked Emma. "Send her a photo of us dining with that Canadian lady from your crew," he explained. "Jennifer didn't take it well. She ended herself. We found her in the tub." "I can't believe it," I said. "I'm really sorry to hear that." It was genuine sympathy, but there was a small part of me that felt a sense of justice now. Jennifer had a taste of the pain I went through when I found out about her. And Michael, yeah, it's tough. Thankfully, she messed it up and survived, but the docs say she needs constant care, Robert explained. Mary and I can't keep up with that 247. So they decided she needs to be in a care facility. "How long do they think she'll be there?" I inquired. "It's uncertain, and some could be a few years, or it might be permanent," Robert replied. "We just taking it one day at a time. If you need anything, just let me know." I offered thanks. Son. I appreciate that Robert said Jessica and I kept up our long-distance relationship, and I found myself growing closer to her with every conversation I started. Imagining a future with her, she felt sorry about Jennifer, especially for the impact it had on Robert, Mary, and the kids. Sharing my feelings during our last chat, Jessica brought up the idea of visiting us with her kids or having us come up to her place, a 2-story log house on 50 acres of forest north of Kamloops, built in the late 1800s. I'd never been that far north, so it sounded intriguing whether anything comes of it. Well, that's a story for another day. The story, James sent a box to his cheating wife and her affair partner during the act, causing them to panic, has many profound meanings, reflecting aspects of life, people, and values in relationships. Here are some of the main meanings that the story conveys. 1. Betrayal and the consequences of broken trust. The story revolves around Jennifer's 12-year betrayal of James, her devoted husband. Jennifer's affair with Michael not only destroyed her marriage, but also shattered James's faith in love and humanity. The meaning here is that trust, the foundation of any relationship, once broken, is very difficult to repair. James's act of sending a box containing the ashes of his wedding dress is a powerful symbol of complete termination and irreparable damage. 2. The power of confrontation and decisiveness. James did not choose to stay silent or blindly forgive. Instead, he hires a detective, gathers evidence, and faces the truth, even if it hurts. He chooses to protect himself and his children by getting a divorce and fighting a legal battle. The point is that sometimes in life, we have to bravely face the truth, even if it is difficult, to regain our self-worth and protect what is important. 3. Love is not enough to sustain a marriage. Although Jennifer insists that she still loves James, he realizes that love is not enough without respect and honesty. The story emphasizes that a lasting relationship requires more than emotions. It requires commitment, loyalty, and responsibility. James tells Emma, "It takes more than love to sustain a marriage, Emma. Trust is just as important." This is the core message about the true value of marriage, or the consequences of personal choice. Jennifer chooses to have an affair to gain a job position and then maintains a relationship for personal reasons at the expense of her family. Her actions result in great loss. Her family is broken, her mental health is damaged, and she ends up in a care facility. Michael also pays the price with a prison sentence, and Sarah loses her friendships and reputation. The point is that every choice has consequences, and that selfishness can harm not only yourself but also those around you. 5. The ability to recover from pain. Despite being deeply hurt, James does not let himself sink into despair. He focuses on raising Emma and Liam, wins the case, and opens up to Jessica, a promising new relationship. The story shows that people can overcome adversity, find hope, and rebuild their lives after great loss. The bartender's advice, "It gets better, trust me," is a ray of optimism throughout. 6. Justice and punishment. James' act of sending the box of ashes is not only a symbol of closure, but also a way for him to seek justice for himself. Michael is imprisoned for attacking James. Jennifer falls into a psychological crisis. These outcomes reflect the meaning that evil, no matter how long it lasts, will eventually face its consequences. However, justice here is not revenge, but liberation for James to move forward. 7. Impact on the next generation. Emma and Liam, even though they are young, are deeply affected by the breakdown of their family. Emma cries because she misses her mother. Liam has long suspected Michael. This shows that children are not only bystanders, but also suffer from the actions of their parents. The meaning is that adults have a responsibility, not only to themselves, but also to the next generation, who are unwittingly victims of their wrong choices. Conclusion. The story is an emotional journey of betrayal, loss, struggle, and recovery. It emphasizes that in life, trust and honesty are indispensable, and that no matter how painful, people can still find the strength to move on. The act of sending the ashes not only causes panic for Jennifer and Michael, but also serves as James's final declaration. He will not let himself be hurt again. Through this, the story invites reflection on the value of family, the consequences of lies, and hope after darkness.